Hello, and welcome back to the Bloodborne No Melee Attacks Challenge Run. Unfortunately, my microphone audio for this particular stream VOD appears to have been lost somehow. Still not quite sure how that happened, but you can bet that I'm pretty annoyed about it. That being the case, I am recording post-commentary audio for this particular stream VOD. Hopefully future ones will go back to normal. I would really rather not have to do this again. Now, last we left off, I was about to go fight the blood-starved beast. So, yes, hello, past me. It's nice to see you, I guess. So, let's go fight the blood-starved beast. Now, since I am editing this in post-commentary, I figured I would go ahead and cut out all the various loading screens and the more repetitive bits like, you know, backtracking, farming for supplies, things like that. You'll see up in the top left corner that I have cut out about 30 minutes of failed attempts against this boss and subsequent farming for more bullets. It was, in fact, a pain in the ass. But the run back isn't too bad, at least. It took me a few attempts and, you know, a lot of in-between farming to work out the strategy that I'm about to use here. So as soon as I get into the boss arena, I'm going to run to this corner over here and chuck a pungent blood cocktail at the wall. Wait for the BSB to start attacking the wall, and then unload on it with the flame sprayer. When it changes phase like that, you'll know what's happening when it stands still and roars at you for a second. It's important to back off and let it do its thing so that you can reset the pungent blood cocktail. And keep unloading. Since the BSB is obviously a beast, it takes increased fire damage, so the flame sprayer is the way to go. It also consumes fewer bullets at a time than the repeating pistol does, which is key. And that's that. Hardly any trouble at all, honestly, once I worked out the strategy. My key mistake in previous attempts was to keep attacking it after it phase changed. And by doing that, it lost aggro on the spot where I chucked the pungent blood cocktail and started attacking me straight away. You gotta back off a little bit. Give it some space. Just resetting my my supplies here. Getting in a couple levels before we go on our next excursion.
Farewell, good.
So now that we've defeated the Bloodstarved Beast, this doorway to the Healing Church Workshop is open, and we can go get some very important items for the rest of the run, starting by going in the secret path and the elevator shaft. Just reconfiguring my items to give myself the torch. It's darker in the game than it appears on these VODs. You'll have to take my word for that. That Formless Odin rune that we just picked up is maybe the most important rune in the whole run. It'll let us hold up to 4 extra Quicksilver bullets. We can't equip it yet because we don't have the Rune Workshop tool. We'll get that later. But I'm grabbing it now. just so I don't have to worry about it later. Those wheelchair guys always seem to drop 4 bullets, so you never lose out on any, at least. The communion rune we picked up will let us hold 1 extra blood vial, which isn't a lot, but it can make the difference in some fights. Going over here to kill this wandering nightmare for the upgrade materials. Very important. And now it's time to run through the Healing Church workshop, while avoiding all the dudes. We don't have unlimited bullets yet. We'll get there. Realizing there that I may have bit off a little bit more than I could chew there, and beating a hasty retreat. Miraculously lived through that room. Oh, hello. These enemies are so rude. There is in fact nothing over here. Just making sure there aren't any items on the other side, but there are. I should have just grabbed the item in the chest and ran off, but I decided to fight these dudes for whatever reason. I don't remember my exact reasoning. This happened over a week ago at this point. It's been very annoying trying to find enough time to record this commentary. But anyway, we have the Radiant Sword Hunter badge now. Another very important item. What am I doing here? Right, I'm going back down. Just, trying to find the ladder. I definitely remembered where it was. Oh good, my phone's done charging. That's neither here nor there, but it is important to me personally. Let me just unplug the charger. There we go. Heading over here to this lower section. There's a secret doorway you can drop down to from here, but the method to doing so is very particular. It's pretty easy to accidentally do it wrong and just fall and die. Like that. The door's right there. That has happened to me more than once, and I'm sure it'll happen in future playthroughs. Regardless of whether or not I decide to stream those. Just cutting out the little bit of backtracking I did to get back here. There we go. That went much better. Gotta love FromSoft platforming puzzles. I'm glad that Elden Ring gives you a dedicated jump button. Anyway, we're in the abandoned old workshop. There are a few important things here. First off is this chest, excuse me, containing the doll set, which is terrible defensively, but it's worth a lot of blood echoes to sell. That's what I'll be doing with it. The old hunter bone is a hunter tool. It requires, I think, 15 arcane, and for 4 bullets, it improves your... excuse me. For 4 bullets, it improves your dodge. Like, it makes it faster, it gives you more iframes, etc. I think it lasts for like 15 seconds. The 1/3 of umbilical cord that we grabbed there is important for the secret ending, and the small hair ornament we will be giving to the doll momentarily. Back to the dream!
Welcome.
First we'll go ahead and give the doll the hair ornament,
What?
while I
What
take a
is
drink.
this? I can't remember. Not a thing, only I feel a yearning, something I never felt before. What's happening to me? Tell me, Hunter, could this be joy?
Thanks for the tear, doll. I appreciate it. Go ahead and pop that immediately for the blood gem. Not that I'm going to use it, but
Welcome.
I won't have to worry about it later.
Farewell.
Now we'll go ahead and sell the doll set for the blood echoes. And convert those straight into more levels.
Welcome. Very well.
I take myself up to 18 blood tinge so that we can use the Evelyn gun later. And what do I do with the rest of it? I don't remember. Looks like a few points into vitality. Pretty solid game plan past me. Nice. I'm probably thinking about future level up choices here, if I had to guess.
Farewell, good.
We'll worry about that later. Now then, for a very important errand we're going on for this run. Now that we've beaten the Blood-Starved Beast, we have access to Chalice dungeons. And if we enter a code for this particular dungeon, we can get infinite blood echoes very quickly. How it works is, when you load into the place, an NPC deeper in the ruins will be loaded in front of a blade trap, but not fully loaded in. His model is loaded in, but not his animations, I think? Something like that. So he gets hit by the blade trap until he dies. And because the dungeon also stacks a bunch of health debuffs on us, that gives us more blood echoes. So that when this dude dies, you get like 80-something thousand blood echoes all at once. There's a Zuli the Witch video that explains it better than I am right now. I'll pin a link to it or something. You can go watch that. You should go watch Zuli the Witch. They do good stuff. Anyway, thanks to this, I never have to worry about farming for bullets again. But I also decide not to spend the next, like, several minutes repeating the cum dungeon over and over again. So I buy a bunch of bullets, and then I spend the rest on blood vials, I think. And then I might make one more trip. I don't remember at this present moment, but I guess we'll see. One more trip. To get some extra supplies. Any future cum dungeon trips will hopefully be off-screen. But anyway, now that we have the Radiant Sword Hunter badge, we can buy bone marrow ashes at the shop. When you use a bone marrow ash, it powers up the next bullet you fire from your gun drastically. I think the buff lasts for like, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds? Or until you fire the shot, obviously. Bone marrow ashes will be very, very useful in keeping our damage relatively competitive throughout the game. Alright, where am I going next? What is past me up to? Ah. We're going back to the pit in the Healing Church workshop. But instead of going to the old workshop, we're just gonna go down the normal way, which is a lot easier. You can still die very easily with one wrong misstep or jump, but generally the normal way is much less hazardous than the secret way. Oh, my frame rate's taking a dip there. I see a lot of complaints about this game's frame rate. Not only that it runs at 30, but also that it sometimes runs for people inconsistently. I've, for the most part, not really had those problems. I don't know why. Like, I've only ever played this thing on a PS4 Pro that I bought a few years ago, but it seems to run fine for me. And I'm not saying the problem doesn't exist, but I don't know. I've been lucky in that regard, I guess. Anyway, we're almost at the bottom here, but I do not remember how to proceed from here, unfortunately. I'm seeing what this phantom is doing to see what I should not do. Guess I'm not running off that ledge. I didn't mean to walk off of that. I was very lucky I didn't die instantly. But it seems to have worked out. I have no intention of fighting this dude. I'm just luring him over here. See ya! There's a few items down here. I'm going to spend the next couple of minutes or so scrambling around trying to pick them all up and not get murdered by the various enemies here. We'll see how successful I am. Pay no mind to the brain sucker. I'm sure it's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. The important thing here is that I'm not dead yet. Now, I could at least fight those dogs pretty easily, because a great benefit of guns is that any bullet-based projectile will knock a dog flat on its ass. But the trouble is I have several more enemies that are not dogs chasing after me, so it's not really worth it. But I will go ahead and take this elevator back up to the Cathedral Ward. Yes, I'm fairly certain one of the dogs just fell into the pit below the elevator. Actually, did all of the enemies just fall? That's pretty funny. I didn't notice that at the time. I thought it was just the one dog. Anyway, shout out to shortcuts. Now we'll be spending the next little bit looking around the Cathedral Ward, scooping up items, etc., etc. Those numbing mists will be helpful against Vicar Amelia. Numbing mists, when you throw it at an enemy, it prevents them from healing themselves for, I think, 30 seconds? Maybe less than that. Generally, that's usually only useful in PvP, but Vicar Amelia actually has a move she does if the fight takes too long where she can heal herself. So if you chuck that at her right as she starts doing it, it'll prevent her from getting that move off, which is nice. Here I'm confused because I thought Vicar Amelia... Not Vicar Amelia, Jesus Christ. I'm confused because I thought Eileen was supposed to be here. She is supposed to be here, but not right now. I haven't yet fulfilled the conditions to cause her to appear there. We'll worry about that later. Past me is ruminating on that, I think. And it looks like she has decided to worry about that later. Good for her. Yoink. It is crucial, very important to get all these gates open to make getting around the ward a lot easier. Doggy. Ow. It's so rude when enemies hit you on a ladder. It's like you can't do anything to defend yourself. What are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? Looks like past me is in a bit of a bind here. She'll make it out okay, I'm sure. I think I decided to give the rest of the items in the courtyard a miss for the time being and just run away to safety. Sometimes that's the right call. This is the path to the Forbidden Woods, but of course it's not open right now. We can't open this door until we get the password to open it after beating,
The password.
Yes, yes. As I was saying, we gotta get the password from Vicar Amelia. Again, we'll worry about that later. If you hear my mouse clicking, that's more than likely just me checking my Audacity file, make sure that the recording is still going. It is, thank goodness. Scoop up those twin bloodstone shards. Run the hell away. Don't know how he didn't get hit there, but I'll take it. There are so many dudes here. Nice dodge. Poison knives will be useful. Unfortunately, a lot of bosses are basically immune to poison. Not fully. More on that later. There are some NPCs here I want to talk to, but of course, can't really do that with these enemies in the way. That's better. Now about these NPCs.
Oh my, what a queer scent.
How did she know?
But I'll take it over the stench of blood and beasts any day. What is it then? I'm off during hunts, and besides, this is no place for ladies.
Joke's on you, I'm a bird.
I don't want to drag you down too. thank goodness. You're a hunter, aren't you, dear? Might you know of a safe place? The night is long and there's very little of the incense left. Please, there must be some nice place to run off to. Oh, thank you, dear. Perhaps I'll see you there. Oh, thank you. Perhaps I'll...
You! What, an outsider? You what? And
I get impatient with this dude.
what you think? Well, I'll have
He's kind of an asshole.
What's this? Well, she's a... All right. All right.
The reason I didn't tell him about the chapel there is because he goes to the opposite place that you tell him about. So if I were to tell him to go to the chapel, he would go to Iosefka's clinic instead. And since by this point, Iosefka's clinic has been taken over by an imposter, he would just die if I were to send him there. Those poison knives will be, well, maybe be useful for later. A lot of bosses have maximum poison resistance, so they're not technically immune, but it would take way more knives than it's worth it to try and poison them. But they're good to have just in case. I won't say no to free knives. That would be a fool to do so. Oof. You're very lucky I didn't just die there. Yoink. Get this gate open. Pop my knuckles loudly on mic. Scoop out the rest of the items I abandoned earlier. Mostly Madman's knowledges. Helpful to have a stash of extra insight should I need it. I might need it. We'll see. Ooh. That had to hurt. Not dead, though. The only hit that matters is the last one, baby. Where am I going now? I seem to have gotten a little turned around. Back to the chapel, I suppose. Right. So here I'm going back to the old lady NPC in Central Yharnam, but I took the wrong way immediately, so I end up inadvertently taking the long way around to where she is, unfortunately. Good for cardio, at least. Practicing dodges, etc. We're not in a lot of danger right now, despite the number of NPCs, because we've leveled up a fair bit. But I did feel silly, running the long way, and I feel silly in hindsight talking about it, but it's fine. I don't have this game, like, memorized. I do love this game a lot. It's one of my favorites, but I'm not, like, a super genius at it or anything. I have just played it a lot. I think this would be like my 5th full playthrough of it. Once I finish it anyways. And I do intend on finishing it. We'll see how well I fare against like the DLC. But The main game, we got this. I hope. I'm definitely not overconfident. Confident. I'm great with words, can you tell? Anyway, Doug. I'm mashing through this dialogue because I think an enemy is following me. But he decided to back off.
Well, don't just stand there. Don't you have work to do? Go slit some throats.
That's not quite how Ruth operates, but I appreciate the spirit of it, I guess. Anyway, we're out of here.
Well put. Very well.
Do not have enough blood echoes to level up at the moment, but I can fix that.
Welcome. What? Very well.
And there we go, a nice round 20.
Farewell.
My long-term goal from our stats is to get Blood Tinge and Arcane to 40, Vitality to at least 35, and Skill to 15. But again, that's a long-term goal. Now then, next... Yes, I know, Bird, you're very loud. Now, we're not going to fight Vicar Amelia right away. We are instead heading to Hemwick Charnel Lane. Yoink. Both for the Rune Workshop tool and for some extra blood echoes. For more levels. Excuse me. The Bloodshot Eyeball I just picked up a bit ago is a Chalice Dungeon ritual item. I don't think I'll do the Chalice Dungeons unless I need to pop in for some extra levels for like more health or something. If I'm having trouble against a particular boss. I've already done a full playthrough of all the preset Chalice Dungeons back when I first streamed this game a year ago. Feel free to check that out if you want. Shameless plug, shameless plug, shameless plug. There are a few items in this little wooded area, but mostly there are a lot of dogs and dudes with guns. A lot of them. The abundant gravestones can at least provide some cover. Ooh, clutch dodge. Shoutouts past me. Unfortunately, I get cornered. Let's try that again, huh? Missed those blood vials earlier. Otherwise, I would have cut back to further along. This time, since we have all the items from that little area, we can just run straight through. And ideally not die in the process. Let's see how things shake out, she said in a weird voice for some reason. One of the enemies hit an explosive barrel there. Handy for me, not so much for them. This is a random observation, but is it just me, or do these particular dogs look a little bit like Red 13 from Final Fantasy VII? It's kind of a vague resemblance, but like, it is kind of there, right? Am I just imagining things? I might be. I always think there's an item in this little corner, but there never is. I will probably keep checking that little corner, forever. Alright, time to dodge the, crazy old women with cleavers. There are a lot of them here. The shortcut elevator is not open yet, but I will at least grab that item that's up here. Ooh. The lady with the Molotov is really nailing her shots, much to my dismay. Ooh. Not dead yet, though. Getting close. Getting real close. I could probably take on some of them, but I'm trying to conserve ammo. Ambush! Ooh, that bird almost killed me. Get the shortcut elevator. Unfortunately, was not able to reach that item. But I got the shortcut elevator at least. So that'll save some running. There we go. More bone marrow ash. I won't say no to that. I don't know why I dodged right into that dude. Ow. This barn is giving me problems. That's okay, we escaped. They don't seem to be able to climb ladders. Or maybe they just don't want to. Not sure. Of course, I could very easily fall back down, so... Gotta be careful. Alright, we're out of that mess. Don't fall off the roof, you will die. Just in case you were wondering, I'm sure you were. She very nearly shoved me off. Got kinda lucky there. I'll take it though. miraculously avoided damage there. Shortcut unlocked. Thank goodness. I am in a bit of a pickle here. Ooh, gnarly. There's like 5 dogs chasing after me right now. It's not a great time. They had me well and truly trapped there. But we got the shortcut open, and that's the important thing. And since we got all those items previously, we don't have to go that way this time. So I'm not gonna. You can't make me. I simply will not allow it. Okay, still recording. Good to go. Woo! Thank you, iframes, my beloved. No, it isn't. You can't just say that. Here I'm looking around for a wandering nightmare that's supposed to spawn in after you get into this house. And I get it just in time. Oop. Almost accidentally attacked a lady with a torch there. Alright. It's boss time. I'm gonna go ahead and spoil the outcome now. I don't win this attempt. And it is largely because I'm expending too many bullets with the repeating pistol. That is the one major flaw of that particular gun. It's decently powerful, but it also consumes 2 bullets per shot, and that is simply not efficient enough to be able to last through longer fights. And when you're playing without any melee attacks, all boss fights are longer fights. It's a bit of a problem. Especially for this battle, considering there are 2 separate targets. Spoiler alert, there are 2 separate targets. They're both always in, but the second one's health bar doesn't appear at first. You have to kill the first one. There are only a set number of spots the witches can spawn. It's not, like, totally random, but I also don't have those spots memorized. Generally speaking, I think there's, like, 1 or 2 spots in a couple of the corners, and then there's a couple spots here on this central structure thing. Maybe a couple others. Again, I don't have this game memorized, and this boss is usually really easy, so you don't have to worry about that sort of thing. But you can see here that I'm already almost out of bullets, and I'm having to make more with, I'm having to make more blood bullets constantly now. And the crappy thing about that is, you can only make a maximum of 5 at a time. You can't stack the effect to get more. If I were to use one... If I were to, say, use 1 blood bullet and then hit the button to do it again, it would still only take me up to 5. It wouldn't take me up to 9. Combine that with the fact that the repeating pistol takes 2 shots per activation, and I'm in a situation now where I can only fire my gun twice before I'm having to refill on bullets. And I've only got so many blood vials to get my health back, so I'm rapidly realizing here in my attempt that there's a high likelihood that it won't be successful, and that is in fact the case. But, I guess if you're playing along with this at home, I don't know who would be, but I don't know, just in case you feel like doing a similar run, learn from my mistakes and don't use the repeating pistol here. It simply costs too many bullets to be worth it. Almost died there. But we'll go ahead and watch the rest of this attempt play out. I let this fight in partially because there wasn't like a great place to cut the video. I didn't like die before I got to the boss or anything like that. And I'm trying to keep the edits not seamless. They're definitely very noticeable, which is fine, but consistent at least. And I couldn't really find a place to do that here, but that's fine. I could maybe squeak out a win here if I was very careful with the rest of my blood vial stock and chucked Molotovs at them, but I did accidentally punch one, so this attempt was invalid anyway. But that's fine. I used this opportunity to head back to the Hunter's Dream and restock and resupply. I'm also seeing here if I can upgrade my guns, and I can, provided I have the blood echoes. I think I decide here not to upgrade the repeating pistol anymore. I'm fairly certain I decide not to do that. Oh, never mind. I do take it to +4. Just in case, I guess. Here I'm deliberating what to do as far as upgrades go. Thankfully, I do make what is in hindsight the correct decision and take the Flame Sprayer to +5. It unfortunately doesn't have any It doesn't have any gem slots, but an increase in damage is still an increase in damage. And having it at +5 will be helpful both for the Witches of Hemwick and for future encounters. For whatever reason, the game doesn't seem to automatically restock quick items. I don't know why, but it's annoying. Back to Hemwick. With the new and improved Flame Sprayer strategy. We'll see how this works out for us. First, I gotta hit the boss. That will be helpful. Pretty okay damage, considering I didn't use a Bone Marrow Ash for that. Not ideal, but we don't have access to the Evelyn right now. So this will have to work out for us. Those strange creatures with a sickle that you see stalking me, they're really not too much of a threat. You can just ignore them largely. They mostly just like walk towards you. If you happen to come into this fight with 0 insight, then the witches won't spawn those creatures. Which is helpful if you're just having a really hard time with this fight, but also this is like one of the easiest bosses in the whole game, so I can only imagine that's really necessary for like weird, silly challenge runs like this. Putting in a bone marrow ash before using the flame sprayer really helps crank up the damage, which is nice. The witches are, of course, not defenseless. Besides their teleporting about, they can shoot out shockwaves, which can hit you and those creatures. I'm not sure what else to call them. They can also shoot out projectiles that'll paralyze you in place. You saw that the last attempt. I don't know why that witch decided to stay there for so long, but I'm not going to complain about it. And the first witch is dead. Now, of course, I have to find the second one, who I unfortunately have not been able to hit at all, so she has a full health bar. But hey, I know where she is now. Get wrecked! Ooh, nice dodge past me. I'm pretty okay at video games sometimes. Oof. I got one of those creatures on the crossfire, which is pretty funny. But unfortunately, the first witch has been revived. So I have to deal with both of them now. Trying really hard to mash out of that without accidentally doing a melee attack. Trickier than it might seem. But I still have 5 bone marrow ashes and both of the witches are almost dead. I don't know offhand if the witches can be revived more than once, but I'd rather really this fight not take long enough to where I'd find out, you know? Anyway, the first witch is dead again. Now we just have to find the second witch, kill her, and we should be good to go. One or two more rounds should do it, especially with a bone marrow ash. Ooh! Very nice dodge from past me. And that's the Witches of Hemwick defeated. We get a pretty okay amount of blood echoes from that. But more importantly, we have the Rune Workshop tool now. Our build just got considerably more survivable thanks to this. Heading back to the Hunter's Dream immediately to slap some runes on. Well, okay. I'll level up a couple times first, then slap some runes on.
Welcome home. What is it you did? Very well. Farewell.
There we go. More bullets. Slightly higher defense just because, and more blood vials. Very, very helpful. restock on bone marrow ashes while we're here. Dunk. And we're heading back to the Cathedral Ward. I forgot to stock up on Molotovs. That's fine. We don't really need them right now. Let's see, what am I doing here? What is past me getting up to now? Or then, I guess. Right, so I'm still not fighting Amelia yet. There are some extra items over this way. And you better believe that I want to pick those up. There are also 2 enemy hunter NPCs down here, and I do not want to fight them. They're 2 of the more annoying hunters in the game. So I'm doing my best to figure out how to avoid them here. There's nothing on this roof, by the way, besides these crows. Take that. Very carefully avoid the NPCs. I'm extremely wary of provoking them. Ooh. That dude almost one-shot me. I do not know what those things are called. I thought they were called kidnappers, but that's not actually what their name is. I don't know if they're called, like, abductors or bagmen or some other third thing, but I just call them kidnappers because that's what they do. Anyway, there are a couple more wandering nightmares down here, and it is in my interest to kill them and not get shot in the process. Molotovs are pretty handy for taking out wandering nightmares, if you can aim properly.
Oh, you weren't lying. This is a safe place. Thank you. I am in your debt. I'd like to tender my thanks, but I can't imagine what to offer. All I can give is my blood. But would you even take a whore's blood? Oh, good. Come close, dear. Don't worry, I've done this before.
I bet somebody out there is into that. No judgment, just an observation. People are into a lot of things. Anyway, let's try not to get murdered this time. Get some of the items down this cliffside here. Yes, the repeating pistol continues to be terribly inefficient, but we will have a replacement gun soon enough. That's unfortunate. But somehow I make it out okay. Some free lit elixirs, not that I'm going to be using them. We can't do anything in here yet, so I'm heading back now. Not terribly successfully, mind you, but I am heading back. it's here that I realize, oh hey, Eileen's here.
Oh, hello there. Perfect timing. I must warn you not to go near the tomb below Erden Chapel in the Cathedral Ward. Henrik.
Extremely rude.
Has gone mad. And he's my
I'm talking here.
Don't go near the tomb below Erden Chapel in the Cathedral Ward. I have business there first.
Unfortunately for Eileen, we're going exactly there. Eileen's quest can be kinda finicky. To get her to spawn there, you have to have talked to her first in Central Yharnam. And then you have to have opened all the gates in the Cathedral Ward, but not defeated Vicar Amelia yet. If you open all the gates, but then beat Amelia without talking to her, or if you just beat Amelia without opening all the gates, then Eileen disappears from the game and you failed her quest. Of course, I'm not aiming to complete her quest this playthrough because that would require fighting the Bloody Crow of Cainhurst, and I really, really don't want to do that. He's already one of the hardest opponents in the game on a normal playthrough, much less one where I don't have access to melee at all. But I am progressing it at least this far, because there's a particular armor set that I want that you can only get by doing Eileen's quest up to this point. Hi, Henrik. Henrik's kind of a pain in the ass, but if you can survive long enough for Eileen to show up and help you, she can largely carry the fight for you. Having said that, she can die if she takes too many hits. And she can also turn hostile against you if you attack her on accident too many times, so I'm trying to stay out of the line of fire of both of them, while also trying to keep Henrik off of Eileen long enough for her to do her thing. There we go.
That wasn't necessary of you, but you have my thanks. We made it with our lives. You're not
Indeed.
bad at all. You must have killed Gascoigne as well,
Uh-huh.
then. He was falling apart, I'm sure it had to be done. But try to keep your hands clean. A hunter should hunt beasts. Leave the hunting of hunters to me. Try to keep your hands clean. Leave the hunting of hunters to me.
You got it, Eileen. It's unfortunate that I probably won't be finishing her quest, because the crow feather set that you get for doing that is my favorite armor set in the whole game. But we can do just fine without, I think. And now that we've killed Henrik, we can get his armor set from the Insight Shop. And Henrik's armor set provides extra bolt defense, which will be very helpful for one boss in particular, that I won't be fighting this stream, I think. Yeah, I fight him in part 3, but it'll be helpful for later.
Welcome. Very well. Over time, farewell, good hunt.
The Healing Church were once guardians of the hunters in the times of the hunter Ludwig. They worked and forged weapons in their unique workshop. Today, most ministers don't recall the hunters, but they have much to offer you. And so, heed the message of your forebears. Ascend to Erden Chapel.
Thanks, Gehrman. Bye, Gehrman. Ah, yes, okay. I was wondering what I was doing. We're still not fighting Amelia yet. First, I want to get killed by one of these enemies in specific. Not gonna lie, y'all, I am getting hungry. But I'll worry about that later. I remember being so freaked out when this happened to me on my first playthrough. I had zero idea what was going on. I love that there's diegetic music happening in the background, and I also love that that is the only place in the game where that happens. Really adds to the creepiness factor of this whole place. There is a boss here, but I'm not going to fight him right now.
Oh, merciful God, help me. In the name of the healing church, cleanse us of this horrible dream.
Right, yes, hello.
Ah, by your garb, the healing church, you've come to save
Uh-huh.
me. Oh, thank you, dear saint. I have no words to express my relief. You can take this, at least. It's sure to please an upstanding member of the church like you. Oh, thank you so much, dear gods. Thank you so I was seized on the street by a hulking brute in the Cathedral Ward and locked up here. There were many others, but they've been taken away. And I've heard moans echoing in the distance ever since. So, the hunt is on tonight. Then the streets are perilous, and every door will be shut tight. Perhaps it isn't my place to ask, but do you know somewhere that might take me in? Oh, thank you so much. I'll set out as soon as I can. I pray for success on your hunt, kind hunter.
And that's that. She's, what's her name? Adela, I think? She's not as nice as she appears, but, you know, we'll go ahead and save her since we're here. It's the right thing to do, right? Anyway, there is a boss here. We'll not be fighting it this stream. But there are also some goodies lying around, and, of course, I am kind of a slut for goodies, so I will be picking them up as best I can. Including this wandering nightmare here. Should have just popped a bone marrow ash or chucked a Molotov at it, but it's fine. That moon rune will give us more blood echoes every time you defeat an enemy, which will be helpful for leveling up and such throughout the playthrough. Before we go outside, I'm going to go down here, scrounge around for more goodies. Oh! 1 HP in a dream. I am very lucky that didn't just straight up kill me. Thank you for the bullets. Thank you for the blood vials. Thank you for the shortcut door that's not going to open from the side, because why would it? Doors working in a FromSoft game? Perish the thought. Anyway, that's where the boss is, but we're not going there. As I've said several times by now, I'm sure you've gotten sick of hearing about it. So we'll just be on our way. I think here I was confused for a second because I thought there was like more than one pathway at the bottom of the stairs here, but there's not. So we'll just go ahead and head on up and out. I was about to talk, and then I just had a cough out of nowhere. Hate when that happens. Anyway, I was gonna say, if you're gonna fight a dog with a gun only, make sure to wait a bit after you shoot it onto the ground the first time, otherwise your second shot will miss, as you saw there. Those specific enemies have like the loudest death sound out of maybe anything in this whole entire game. It is so absurdly loud compared to everything else. I don't know why they mixed it like that, but they did. Boar. Almost missed this wandering nightmare. Got him. Gotta give myself more bullets because I'm out now. Repeating pistol is just not worth it in a run like this. Not in the long term, anyway. But that's just my 2 cents. Maybe one of you out there would find a better use for it. Anyway. That elevator is not working at the moment, and will not be working for a while. Now, the smart thing to do here would have been to chuck Molotovs at the dogs, but I never claimed to be smart, so I'm just gonna deal with them the hard way. See how that works out for me. It didn't work out for me so well, as you can see. But thankfully the boar charged into a couple of the dogs. And it wasn't on camera, but the second boar charged into the first from behind. Took care of it for me. Very nice of it, really. This place has taken a lot out of me, but we're surviving, which is the important thing. Hey, it's the Tonitrus! I'm not even gonna use that on this playthrough. In fact, I think I literally, like, sell it immediately at the start of the next stream VOD, so... You have that to look forward to, I guess. Ooh. Dodged a little too early. Unfortunately for me, the board that just killed me is holding on to all those... Ow. All those blood echoes, so I'm gonna have to give him a miss. That would have been enough for a level, I think. There's the Yahar'gul equipment set. And I'm dead again. Turns out the boars are very annoying when you can't just fight them normally. Especially since they can nearly one-shot me. Not a fan of that. Alright, I'm out of here. Thankfully, bold hunter's marks make you invincible when you use them, so you don't have to worry about dying while you're warping back to a place. It's a lot kinder than, say, Dark Souls 2 is about that. Not to mention that Dark Souls 2 has the slowest homeward bone animation of the series by a wide margin. Of course, everything about that game is generally a lot slower than other Souls games, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. I like Dark Souls 2, by the way. I think it's a good video game that has some problems, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not going off to fight the boss where Hendrik's equipment set will be useful. I'm just debating what to wear next, because I've worn the Gascoigne fit for a while. Ultimately, I decided to go with the Yahar'gul equipment, mainly because it gives extra physical defense, and Vicar Amelia pretty much only does physical attacks, so I figure I can eke out a bit more resistance for that. But I'm pretty much only going to be wearing this for that for that boss fight, so. Just making sure I have everything ready to go. Got my flame sprayer out. Vicar Amelia is, of course, a beast, so she will take extra fire damage, which is helpful. I think I'm changing my runes here. Yeah, the 3% defense boost is extremely marginal. I think the best form of that rune you can get is like a plus 7% boost, which, again, extremely marginal. Why do you even bother using it? But here I'm debating which of my guns to upgrade again. I decide to hold off for the time being, I think. Right then. Onwards to Vicar Amelia, finally. We have stalled long enough. Not sure why past me stood there for a few seconds, but whatever. Joke's on you, nerd. I got iframes. Cutscene time. Ain't that just the prettiest smile you ever laid eyes on? Now then, Amelia isn't that hard of a boss. She hits like a truck for this stage of the game. But her attacks are all pretty heavily telegraphed. And it's relatively easy to break her limbs and stagger her. As you can see, we are just melting her health right now. Especially with Bone Marrow Ash on our side. Somehow got hit by that. Not sure how. Very nearly died, but didn't quite, luckily. When she does that two-handed slam attack, you want to dodge to the side to avoid the resulting shockwave. Otherwise, not much to it. First try Vicar Amelia. I popped off a little bit about that. Felt pretty good about it. Go ahead and use that for the rune that the gem that I probably won't use. And we're heading straight into another cutscene as soon as I investigate the mysterious skull on the altar there. Shout out to skulls on altars, by the way. I wonder what past me was talking about. I don't quite remember. Anyway. Cutscene time.
Master Willem, I've come to bid you farewell.
Oh, I know. You think now to betray me.
No, but you will never listen. I tell you, I will not forget our adage.
We are born of the blood, made men by the blood, undone by the blood.
Shout out to Blood.
Our eyes are yet to open.
Fear the old blood. I must take my leave.
By the gods, fear it, Lawrence.
Right, back to the Hunter's Dream now. Time for levels!
Very well.
Time for me to check Audacity, and we're still good, thank goodness. Here I think I'm talking about getting my Arcane to 20.
Farewell.
The Executioner's Glove requires 20 Arcane to use, and I do intend to make use of Hunter tools at least a little bit throughout this run, so... And if nothing else, Molotovs scale off of Arcane pretty well. Maybe not so useful for bosses as we go along, but pretty okay for random enemy mobs, I think.
Welcome. What? Very well.
There we go.
Farewell.
Oh, I'm doing it some more. Cool.
Welcome. Very well.
This build is kind of silly, but hey, it's working. And if nothing else, every level gets you a little bit more defense.
Farewell.
Defense. That is the, that's the item that gets you into the DLC. Which you can technically get into as soon as you fight Vicar Amelia. But that would not be wise right now.
Hunters about the gods and their love, but I am a doll. Would you ever? Of course, I do love you. Isn't that how you've made me? Farewell.
Skipping through the doll's dialogue a little bit. I've heard it all before, multiple times. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Going back to the Gascoigne fit. Rocking the amateur Arden cosplay. Right. Back to the Cathedral Ward, but we're going to the Forbidden Woods now, but we're not going to finish the Forbidden Woods in this particular stream. We're just going to do like the first half of it and, you know, scoop up items, the usual. And then we'll go do other things. And you'll see what those other things are soon. Just gotta get there first. Hoofing it one step at a time. I've said this before, and I'll probably say it both in the next VOD after this one and in future streams, that I don't really need a lot of stamina for this playthrough, because firing guns doesn't consume stamina, so I only really need it for sprinting and dodging attacks. Maybe a few extra points wouldn't hurt, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. Probably not really until I get the rest of my stats where I want them, to be honest. In fact, I think the only stat that I'm... Oh, hi, Alfred.
Oh, now, let's just tell me what piques your interest.
Fun fact, Alfred and Solaire have the same voice actor. Anyway. Oh, actually. Password first. Uh-huh. Spooky. Anyway, I think the only stat that I'm not really going to increase at all in this playthrough is strength, because I don't really need it for anything. I could invest heavily into it so I could wield the cannon, but that would require a lot of investment just for one gun that I could only fire like twice, so not really worth it. Anyway, welcome to Snake Town. Population, so many snakes, just an absurd amount of them. We're not going to deal with that right now, but, you know, later on. Probably next VOD, actually. Which, ow. Thankfully, part 3 has working audio, working mic audio, so I don't have to do this whole song and dance for that, which is nice. 2 enemies and I'm already almost out of bullets. Can you see the problem with the repeating pistol? Not an ideal weapon for a playthrough like this one, but we're almost at the point where we can put it aside. And thank goodness for that. Hello. They'll be in there later. Bird. Antidotes. Something died. Maybe a bird fell off a cliff or something. Shout out to obvious traps. There is a cluster of items and enemies down here that we're gonna have to deal with. Let's see how it goes. Hello. Somehow I missed that at point-blank range. I'm great at video games, except when I'm not, which is often. I should have restocked on Molotovs, so I could throw them at the enemies here, but I already didn't do that. Dog. Bye, dog. Well, I think something ran itself into the fire down there. Which is handy for me. Maybe not so much for them. Oh, there's another dude down there. Didn't even realize. 2 more dudes, even. And 10 more bullets. Very handy. I'm not sure what that guy's throwing. He might be throwing oil urns at you? Don't know. Would have to look that up, and I don't feel like it. You can if you want. I'm sorry, my brethren. It was either you or me. take those. Not going to use them, but I'll sell them. I think Beast Blood pellets only apply to your melee attacks, unfortunately. Fairly certain that guns are unaffected, so even if I did want to use them, it wouldn't be terribly helpful for me. So I'll just take them and be on my merry way. I'm pretty proud of myself for thinking of doing that in the moment. Also, that dude just completely clipped through the ground when he died, which was very funny. Rude. I think pungent blood cocktails are unfortunately falling off a little bit in terms of being useful against bosses. Most of the remaining bosses aren't beasts, and the ones that are, I think they're immune to the effects of the cocktails, so... But it's good to have a stockpile of them handy for normal enemies, because we'll continue to run into, like, werewolves and such here and there throughout the rest of the game. But they only work on beast-type enemies. I don't think that these humanoids would be affected too much, unfortunately. I don't think there's anything of terrible importance in that pit in the center of the village, so I'm just not going to bother with it. I simply will not. I will, however, mute my microphone and take a drink. Stay hydrated. It's important. Bit of a hairy situation there, but managed to pull myself out of it okay. Not going down that way yet. Both because we have other business here and because that way is dangerous. It's better to go an alternate route. Speaking of alternate routes... Oh, almost fell down there. Hello, random house NPC.
Oh, a hunter of beasts, are you? Glory be. You know not the value you possess. But more's the pity. The hours of the night are many, and the beasts more than I can count. A veritable hunt unending. Not even death offers solace, and the blood imbibes you. A most frightful fate. Oh my. But I'm willing to do you a kindness. Step lightly round to the right of the great cathedral and seek an ancient, shrouded church. The gift of the Godhead will grant you strength. Yes.
Didn't mean to gesture there, but thanks for the tonsil stone. Fun fact, you don't have to talk to that NPC specifically, but you can talk to any NPC that's inside a house and you interact with them from outside the building with a red lantern like this. You can talk to any NPC like that once night falls, and you'll get the tonsil stone. I think that's what I'm talking about here. Didn't know that until recently. Pretty neat. learning to my dismay that you can't shoot the dogs through the cages. And there are a lot of them here, so I'm just gonna run past. Taking the semi-hidden route down here to the mandatory swamp. Not that it's very big in this area. Not that I'm complaining about that. I don't think there's really much of anything of value here, so I'm just gonna run straight to the other side. Pick that up. And ignore everything else here. You can make a snake eater joke if you want. I'm not going to. Oh, and look at that. We're back in Central Yharnam. This shortcut is silly. It's very silly, but I'm also glad that it's here. Got a couple things to find here in this area. Hello, Mr. Brainsucker. Here I'm trying to science out if brainsuckers can climb up ladders or not, and it turns out they can't. Either they're too dumb to, or they just don't wanna. And either way, it's good for me. There are a lot of birds on this roof, and birds are unfortunately easy to kill. Unfortunately for them. So you know what that means. That used up way more resources than I probably should have, but it's fine. We're fine. We're fine. We're fine. Don't worry about it. If I were to head off to the left here, I'd have to fight an incredibly dangerous NPC, and I don't want to do that, and that's not what I'm here for anyway. I am instead going here to grab the Cainhurst summons so that we can go to Cainhurst. Don't mind the Celestial Emissary, it's fine. Get me the hell out of here!
Welcome. Very well. Farewell.
Alright, selling off these particular items so I can squeeze out one extra level.
Welcome. Very well. Farewell.
There we go. Now that we have the Cainhurst summons, we gotta go back to Hemwick Charnel Lane. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Get back to the place we need to be so we can get to Cainhurst. Hello, ladies. Goodbye, ladies. Ah! She almost grabbed me. Serpentine, serpentine. Mistimed that dodge, unfortunately, but it's fine. We're almost where we need to be. It's that particular pillar in the middle of this area. Bum ba da ba! Surprise! Now, for whatever reason, the carriage showing up and the carriage taking you to Cainhurst are two separate cutscenes. So if you're being chased by enemies, and you probably are, as soon as that cutscene ends, hold left and mash X, and you should be able to get in the carriage without further problems. Welcome to Cainhurst. I love this place. It's one of my favorite areas in the game. I wish there was more of it, but considering that's entirely optional and somewhat hidden to begin with, I think what's here already is pretty good. Now, I don't think there's much of importance in this opening courtyard area, so I'm just going to run past everything and head straight for the main entrance. Also, I do not feel like fighting these horrible tick, spider, vampire things. I don't know what they're called. They're awful. I don't like them. But they seem to back off once you get close to this door, so good for me. There's a few important things here, and they're especially important to our build for this playthrough. It's just a matter of going around and scooping them up. Shout out to scooping up items. I feel like I've said that a lot this particular VOD, but it's fine. Sorry, ladies. Excuse me. Coming through. In here is the Reiter Palash, I believe. Yes. This is an interesting weapon in that when you transform it, you can shoot bullets out of it. I might use it. I'm still unsure. It would require a lot of upgrade materials to get it up to speed with where I am now in the playthrough. But, and I wouldn't fully upgrade it anyways, because you only get 2 guaranteed blood rocks in the entire game. But I don't know. I might have to fall back on it for whatever reason. We'll see. We'll see. For now, it's important. It's just important that I grabbed it. Hello, ladies. Ghost ambush. These ghost women, I think they're called Cainhurst nobles. Ow. They're not too terribly difficult to deal with on their own, but there are usually a lot of them, and they can swarm you with their numbers. But that's neither here nor there, since I will be summarily ignoring them. Couldn't tell you what the deal is with all these dozens of statues that line the place, but they definitely add to the atmosphere. They look cool. Free bloodstone chunk. Leave that gargoyle where he is. That man almost grabbed me. Something died. Not sure what. Maybe one of the gargoyles, like, fell off the ledge of the castle or something. I'm guessing that's what happened, but I don't know for sure. Grab the executioner set. I don't think it confers any particular bonus one way or the other, but it does look nice. Shortcut unlocked. Accidentally ride the elevator down. Don't you hate when that happens? Send it back down. It's proper elevator etiquette. That's just an online item. Not really important for us, but I grabbed it so it wouldn't confuse me later. This is much more important. Dun da da da. I didn't mean to do that emote, but grabbing the Evelyn is worthy of celebration, I think. Sorry about the noise. They like to scream at you in this room. Anyway, the Evelyn is one of the better pistols in the game. Maybe the best pistol overall. And it does about the same damage. It'll do about the same damage as the repeating pistol once we catch it up upgrade-wise, but the important bit is that it also only costs one shot per activation, so it'll be much more helpful to stretch out our resources for boss fights. I just got completely overwhelmed by this singular enemy somehow. Not quite sure how that happened. It's fine. Anyway, we're back up here now. I'll upgrade the Evelyn once we head back to the Hunter's Dream, but for now I want to stay here and grab the rest of the items that are around the place. There's not a whole lot up here, actually. It's pretty much just this, as far as I can tell, which I'm not going to say no to a bloodstone chunk. They're very handy. I don't remember offhand if you're ever able to, like, buy them. Maybe you can at, like, the Insight shop, like, way late in the game, but certainly not right now. Hello, Mr. Gargoyle. Don't mind me. You don't have to do that. Alright. We have the shortcut unlocked now, but unfortunately there was an additional area back in that rooftop section that I forgot about, so I'm gonna have to go back for it. And one of my roommate's cats is trying to get into my room for some reason. Like, she's poking her little feetsies underneath the door, and I don't know what she wants, but I'm busy right now, so she's gonna have to tough it out for a few minutes. She'll be fine. Don't worry about it. I want that chest over there. Easier said than done with all these ladies around. There we go, that's most of the knight set. We'll find the headpiece later. And, more importantly for us, the executioner's gloves. That, hold on, let me get out of here first. It requires 20 arcane to use and costs 3 bullets per activation. It'll send out a wave of like 3 skull projectiles that travel kind of slowly but also go pretty far, and they also track reasonably well. So they're not the most efficient thing in the world, but they're pretty decent. I do not remember what's in this chest. We'll find out together. A gemstone. I think I'm gonna end up slotting that into the Evelyn at some point. Kill this dude. Very inefficiently, but, you know, whatever works. And I don't think there's anything else up here. So we'll continue on up and out of this room. Making sure I didn't miss anything, I think. And I didn't. I think. I'm only a little bit paranoid about missing items. Not a lot, just a little bit. Avoid the gargoyle, grab the headpiece of the knight set, be on our merry way. This is the pathway to the boss fight of Cainhurst, Martyr Logarius. Logarius? Some of the third pronunciation? I don't remember. But we're not fighting him this stream. God, no. We're way underleveled for that. Worry about him later. I'm just up here to see if there are any items. And there's at least one. Some bold hunter's marks. I'll take those. We take those. But I don't think there's anything else up here. So we're going to go ahead and use a bold hunter's mark, get back to the entrance, and then from there head back to the hunter's dream. Warping. Alright. One last restock, resupply, and upgrade session, and then we will call it a VOD. First, we gotta get the Evelyn up to speed with the rest of our guns. Unfortunately, I'm realizing here that I do not have enough bloodstone shards for that. So I'm thinking like, wait, am I gonna have to go farm those? Or are there any more pickups that I missed, or what? So I'm deliberating about that right now. Swapping around gemstones. Give the best one to the Evelyn, give the backup to the repeating pistol. Checking out my Carol runes, see if I want to switch any of those. I don't. Luckily, hi doll, the Insight Bath Shop carries bloodstone shards now. I forget when exactly that starts happening. But as long as you have insight, you can get as many of those as you need, which is nice. Gotta get 7 more, but that's not a problem. Pop one of these, because you do need at least 1 insight to keep interacting with the doll. She will, for some reason, go back to sleep if you go down to 0 insight and then come here, even after you've already activated her once, which is funny, but kind of annoying. And there we go. We got a +7 Evelyn. Say that 5 times fast. Or don't. I'm not your boss. I hope I'm not anybody's boss, to be honest. That doesn't sound like a fun prospect to me personally. But that's neither here nor there. I'm comparing the damage here between the Evelyn and the repeating pistol. The repeating pistol would technically be stronger if we were to upgrade it further, but again, the Evelyn only costs 1 bullet per shot. So, sorry, repeating pistol. You're being put on the bench. As soon as Past Me finishes deliberating on that. It might take a hot minute. I think if you do the math here on the blood attack damage numbers there for both of the guns, that the damage would add up to be literally the exact same. I think that's what I was doing there. Alright, and that's all for this VOD. Thank goodness I finally found some time to record this. Hopefully I won't need to do it again, because oh my god, that was so annoying. I'll see y'all later. I really gotta go use the bathroom and then get some soup, because I am very hungry. Bye!